come the skin is peeling off in sheets. Lay all your paper.
Hello everybody. So we've all heard of the really cool way you can practice forging, especially when you're a beginner or if you're teaching somebody and you want a really visual way to forge, of using plasticine like this, because it moves really similar to the way that steel moves under a hammer. However, using your normal forging hammers to actually forge this stuff, it doesn't really hold up very well. So one of my patrons, Sean Pittard, accidentally gave me a cool idea, because he was doing his, he asked me what's good to practice with, and I said, plasticine and all that, and the standard thing, and he used a wooden mallet to do it, which I thought was a brilliant idea, because it's so much lighter, so you can sort of focus a lot more on swinging properly, because, I mean, you can practice with one of these and just tap really lightly, but that doesn't really help you teach grip and hammer control as much. It's just more showing you the movement of the steel. So I took that and I thought, why not actually make a wooden blacksmithing hammer? Now this is kind of like a little chunky boy, but it's basically just a cross-peen hammer, and I thought, why not make a really lightweight? This is just made out of pine, so it's really quite light. It's got sort of very little heft to it whatsoever, and it wouldn't stand up to being used as a mallet even, but it's pinned through and everything. It's just is not designed for anything other than plasticine, but you can kind of hit a little bit better. It doesn't move the plasticine quite as easily. Now, I know there is a trick that if you freeze plasticine or even refrigerate, the colder that you have it, the harder it becomes to move, and that's very valid. That works very, very well, but you got to it warms up during the day, and you've got to try and keep it cold, and that's not always particularly, what's the word I'm looking for here? Nah, can't think of the word. It's not a good way to do it, basically, unless you've got a fridge or a freezer in your forge, and you want to keep going and swapping out new batches of it. So basically, super lightweight wooden hammer does the trick, but you can also, because it's actually shaped like a blacksmith hammer, like a mallet's quite big and round and unwieldy, and you would use a blacksmithing hammer that looks like that unless you're working with like a club hammer or a troll hammer or whatever you want to call it. But something like a little dinky cross-peen, and if the wood's light enough, like you spruce or balsa or something like that, and you'd be able to actually make a full-size hammer like this and make it out of wood, and really it's not that big a difference in hammerhead sizes here. But it moves the clay at a much lighter rate while letting you still practice sort of getting your grip going, getting your pinky flicks and your indexing and things like that, while still being able to work on that. And it gives you a much more visceral, visual display of how you're doing things wrong when you're first learning, because you're actually doing the motions that you would be doing if you were using a real hammer. Let me show you. And so there you go. Forged knife, and it showed how we went from sort of round stock to this. They're both of the same size piece. Pre-making chunks of plasticine into things like round stock and square stock and keeping them just ready to go helps a lot. But, it just showed how to reprofile the stock, how to draw it out, draw the tip, draw the point, forge in the bevels along there, and how the dropped tip pushed up when we expanded out the bevels, how to shoulder off and all that sort of thing. It shows it really viscerally, and you can actually walk somebody through doing it. I mean, somebody who's used to hammer control can do all that with plasticine with one of these. But if you're not, if you're a student, for example, I get a lot of students in here because I teach blacksmithing as well as doing it. Having a little wooden hammer like this might be a really good addition to your workshop. And you don't have to be a pro at carpentry to make something like this, really. It's not a complex project. I knocked this one out in 20 minutes. And it's just from some old pine scrap that I had lying around. It doesn't have to be perfect dimensions or anything like that. Just needs to do the job. So, give that a thought. Next time you're trying to show somebody something, or perhaps you're learning yourself, or perhaps you're wanting to do a particularly complicated maneuver and you want to run through it a couple of times with plasticine first. I mean, even I do that, just as sort of trying to wrap your brain around some of the complex ways you're trying to move the steel. Sometimes it's good to just see it. Sometimes you might just be trying to explain something to somebody, and it's a really good way to jump on top of that. So, wooden hammers. Thanks, Sean, for the idea inadvertently. That turned into a YouTube video, so that's pretty good. And now I will go back to work and get some stuff done, because I've had a very lazy day, which I shouldn't be doing. I've got too much on. I'll get back to that, and I'll leave you all to it. I'll catch you later. Bye. Just before I go, I wanted to do a quick shout out to the patrons who have joined in on my Patreon. I only started it a short while ago, and didn't really expect to get that many people that early. You know, I'm a small channel. I'm one of the smaller ones, and I got the Forgecast and things like that. My goal has been to focus on sharing education within the community and getting that knowledge out there, helping people, and you know, it's such a welcoming and warm community that I wanted to be playing my part in that, to help new people get over some of the sort of scarier humps that can come with learning a new craft, let alone a craft that involves fire and and things that could melt your face off in seconds. So to be not just having my part in that, and to getting the awesome comments that you get, even you, guy that downvotes everything, I know you watch every one of my videos. So all of you giving that feedback and saying that you've gotten help from me has been awesome, and to have people actually be willing to put down money to support me and to keep me encouraged to do this and keep doing this, it just really warms my heart, because I feel like I'm getting something back from a community that I like to give to as much as I possibly can, which isn't as much as I'd like, but as time goes on, I'm hoping for that amount to get bigger and bigger, and Patreon helps me do that. So huge thank you to everybody that has jumped on board. It doesn't matter what tier it's on, it helps not just financially, but it helps sort of, you know, emotionally. It helps to know that people are liking my content and getting enough out of it that they get a feeling they want to give something back, even if it's just a little. That makes a huge difference and motivational boost, and really it keeps a hammer in my hand every single day, just because I love doing it, and I love that you love that I do it. So, and I love that you love that I love that I do it. So huge shout out to you guys. You're awesome. You're going to appear at the end of every one of my videos, because I love shouting your names from the rooftops as often as I can. Big love to you all, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Bye.
Come, the lessons of the rope, while you're carrying the burdens of the truth. For all, always, forever. I never said it would be easy, or just that I wanted it that way. I never said there was a plan, hey, I never claimed to keep the sky from falling down, and all around and through your hands.